I want you to quickly look at the meaning of the word simulator and then look at the Roblox simulator page. 95% of these games don't deserve to have such title in their game, but they still do since it brings them money. A good example of a real simulator that's out there is Zach's Service Station, a genuinely realistic and difficult simulator, a simulation of working in a gas station. Duh, or your future job, if you know what I mean. But the game I'll be explaining is so complex and detailed, you'd practically need a PhD in nuclear engineering to understand it all. I would like to introduce to you Realistic Boiling Water Reactor Simulator.
That's a mouthful.
Once in game, you get to control a Unit 1 boiling water reactor. But before anything, your gameplay diverges into two paths: public servers and private servers. If you're new, it is heavily advised to play in a private server to learn the basics and controls of Unit 1, and join the public servers once you understand how to control. However, you will be meeting two types of people in public servers: people that are trying to maintain Reactor, and people that ruin everything. They are a daily occurrence in public servers, so expect your Reactor to be in a setback. It may be reasonable to try to sabotage in hardcore games, but in this, you're a dick. Entering the control room, you will most likely have no idea what to do, or how to get started, or what these switches control, so it's about time I explain them. Trust me, all of this is way more complicated than that gas station I mentioned before. Good luck, you're gonna need it. If the startup guides on YouTube and in-game are too long for you, I can explain it in a quick segment. So here's my quick version of starting the year 1.
Let's go!
Heads up, if you don't want the reactor indicator sounds drilled into your brain, each panel has a knowledge and silent buttons. These will mute the current sounds coming from their respective panel. It's recommended to enable descriptions to make this process easier. Alright, let's get this started, quite literally. Turn off all offline cooling pumps. Set rock control and all bouncer to fast mode. Enable APRM to 5% and turn on reactor all control. Enable the pumps in this order and set them to 25%. Wait until the Swarm's Rage monitor shows 500 counts. Increase the IPR level every time it reaches 70%. And continue up to level 6. Enable the top few water pumps in this order. Enable the top condenser pump in main cooling all control. Turn on 3 preheaters and 1 polisher. Open the turbine bypass to 40%. Enable both condenser air removals. Turn on the steam jet air ejector and set it to 100%. Enable the top circulation pump and its all control. Wait until the pressure reaches 70 millibars. Enable the rear on control. Set the APRM to 10%. Close the turbine bypass completely. Wait until the steam pressure reaches 6000 kPa. Enable the turbine main valve. Open the turbine valve to around 20%. Make slight adjustments to keep the valve in this range. If you open it too much, you'll lose pressure, and eventually RPM. If it's too low, steam pressure will get out of control. Adjust the valve carefully so steam pressure increases only by single digits. Slow down adjustments as you approach 3600 RPM. Once at 3600 RPM, enable network synchronization. Turn on automatic pressure hold. Set the APRM to 20%. Enable bus A, then bus B. Enable the bottom circulation and condenser pumps. Turn on the bottom feed water pump in this order. Increase the APRM to 30%. Enable recirculation mode. Finally, increase the APRM to 50%. And congrats, you've got a working reactor. If you need extra help, there's a Unit 1 startup guide available that explains everything in greater detail. Now back to the video. With your functioning reactor, you have to meet the electrical demand with your order to keep the Souls RNG players on the gambling ride. If you meet the demand, you get points. To get more points, you can control the reactor manually. To increase the generator load, you can withdraw the odds further or increase the APRM. But beware, the longer you use the reactor, the more you'll notice the overall condition of the reactor drop. But for now, don't worry, I'll explain it in just a moment. Turbine trip. Reactor trip. Grid shut down. That's just one of the things that will screw you over throughout this journey. In case of a grid shutdown, enable these 3 switches in this war. Enable cooling pumps and RCS. Once the reactor level reaches 0, disable it. Wait for this display to show 1800 RPM. After that, enable this specific breaker and wait for grid control to call you. For repairs, use this yellow text to mark specific switches where you believe are malfunctioning. After that, call the U1 main screw. Bonus points if you mark the right devices. And repeat the same startup process yet again. And that would be it about this game. And no, I am clearly not making a fake outro just to show you something even worse this game has to offer.
What is this?
Welcome to the Unit 2 control room. As if one control room wasn't enough, there's another, a way more realistic and complex version of the Unit 1, unlockable after collecting 1000 Unit 1 points. The very obvious thing you'll notice that it's a lot bigger and have different measurement displays, but I'm just scratching the surface with you, because this thing is a pain in the ass to learn. You'll have to really dedicate your time into learning the controls of Unit 2, and I'm not talking about the control room itself, I'm talking about something new that you're going to work with. Look, I know I'm supposed to explain literally everything about this game, but explaining the start guide for Unit 2 is too much for me. You can check out their Discord server for resources and instructors who can teach you, because any info elsewhere is scarce. All I can really do is show you the new things you'll deal with that you didn't have in Unit 1, such as the turbine hull, the turbine control room with metrics such as axial and radial pressure, casing heating rate, generator temperature, oil systems that include this oil tank, this oil filter, lubrication oil temperature and pressure, generator tanks and rupture discs, condenser maintenance control room that includes regeneration tanks, differential pressure, conductivity, diesel generator bay and control panel for offsite power events, valves. You are now in Endgame, but there's not really an endgame in this experience. It's more so tied to your knowledge and accomplishments that you have made throughout this journey. In other words, you now know how to detect every single malfunction, mastered the Unit 2, collected every single badge, maybe even decided to get that PhD in nuclear engineering I mentioned earlier. And if you're feeling ballsy, really ballsy, you can aim for the highest possible rank in the game, the Plant Manager, which requires you to reach 10 million points in total. At the time of recording, only one person holds that rank. And you know what? If you somehow reach that rank, then I believe you're qualified to work at Reactor in real life. After all, this is a simulator made for training purposes in real life situations, and not some cash grab title for cheapskate developers. I also want to mention that the devs are apparently masochists. As if one complex Reactor game wasn't enough, they decided to make 2 more Reactor games to work on, at once. I unfortunately won't look into these games, you're on your own with them, but still, feel free to check them out, and support them by donating in-game. They definitely deserve it for all the work they put into these games. Before I end this, I have one crucial piece of advice for you, and listen to me, and listen good, viewer. If you're going to actually play this and reach the supervisor rank, for the love of God, do not become a furry. Like I said, feel free to play the game.
But don't develop an addiction to furry roleplay games, for fuck's sake.
Hey you, I demand you to like and subscribe. I sacrificed a lot of sleep for this video. It would mean a lot to me if you subscribed.
I'm done. I'm not even getting paid for this crap.